Well, hello there. Heidi hi. Welcome to another episode, live stream, Elvis, the Ultimate Fan Channel. Now, as most of us know, we received some very, very bad news from the Elvis world today. The passing of Elvis's drummer, Ronnie Tutt. Slowly but surely, they're all returning to the to the fold, one by one. The first thing I thought of when I heard the news was I can just see Elvis standing there waiting for Ronnie and saying, "Hey, Ronnie, man, where you been?" Yeah, that sort of went through my head. So, before we go any further, let's just go over Ronnie Tutt. Born in Dallas, Big D, as Elvis would say, March 12th, 1938, and he was involved with music and performing arts for most of his childhood. Ronnie was a member of the core rhythm group, or rhythm section, put together by guitarist James Burton for Elvis's band from August 1969 until his death in 1977. Ronnie played just nearly every gig that Elvis did, apart from a few, and he did unfortunately have to leave early on that very, very last tour. Larry London filled in for the last couple of nights, which finished on June 26th, as we all know, Indianapolis. He also played for the likes of the Carpenters, Roy Orbison, Billy Joel. In fact, Ronnie played drums on Billy Joel's breakthrough 1973 album, Piano Man. And he also played with Jerry Garcia. In later years, Ronnie was invited by Neil Diamond to become his permanent concert and recording session drummer. So, he wasn't just Elvis's drummer. He was a very, very sought after drummer, because people just knew what a fantastic drummer he was by listening to his work with Elvis Presley. So obviously that's what he will be most remembered for, and especially by us as well. And all the headlines sort of began today by saying Elvis Presley's drummer passes away. So let me just, I've got some images I want to kind of show you as I go through here. Of course I can't find them now, can I? So yeah, there we have it. He always had a great Elvis and Ronnie always had a great repartee and a great connection with each other. You can see that Ronnie watched Elvis an awful lot during the concerts. Obviously, Elvis was nearly always immediately in front of Ronnie, and Ronnie didn't play. He didn't play with the band. He actually played with Elvis's movements. He played along with Elvis's movements, and there was such a connection between the two. And that's the reason why Ronnie got the gig, is because he never took his eyes off Elvis during the initial sort of interview and audition stage. And Ronnie was just a great fit as a drummer. He really was. I think he missed the January-February 1970 engagement because there was some confusion with it was late notice. Parker didn't give the band enough notice that Elvis was going to do a January-February gig, and so he missed that one. But like I say, 99% of the gigs that Elvis did, Ronnie was the drummer. A statement issued by the Elvis Presley Enterprises Instagram read, "All of us with Elvis Presley Enterprises were deeply saddened to learn of the passing of Ronnie Tutt. In addition to being a legendary drummer, he was a good friend to many of us at Graceland. We enjoyed each time he joined us here to celebrate Elvis Week, Elvis's birthday, and many other special. Ronnie was an amazing ambassador to Elvis's legacy, sharing his memories of working with Elvis with fans, as well as bringing Elvis's music to arenas around the globe through the later Elvis in concert shows and performances. Okay. And our hearts go out to Donna, his family, his fellow TCB band members, and to his fans around the world. He will be deeply missed by us all. Yeah, and I thought that was a very, very nice statement from EPE. Ronnie's distinctive drums on many of Elvis's recordings and live shows. I just wanted to say that, you know, he was a very, very distinctive drummer, and who could forget the driving force of his drumming on, say, something like Burning Love, or if there's any other songs that you can think of, just put them in the comments. But I just wanted to mention that the passing of Ronnie, Elvis Presley's drummer, aged 83, and may he rest in peace. And I'm pretty sure that as we speak, the old gang is getting together and having a great time up there. Yeah, Angel Baby says, Steve, you're buffering. I think it's cleared. There was just a little bit of a buffer there, but I've got a green light again. So I should be up and running again. It maybe just dropped a little bit. So, yeah, R.I.P. Ronnie. What's coming up in the show? Fan of the Month quiz, of course. This day in Elvis history. Elvis photo of the week. I've toned it down a little bit this week, girls, because I understood that for the last 2 or 3 weeks, the topless ones and the bare-chested ones and so forth has been putting everybody in their health in jeopardy. But all I was trying to do, actually, was I was trying to get Angel Baby's blood pressure up. So I've toned it down a little bit tonight, but it's still a good one. It's still a good one. We'll have Elvis Song of the Week, of course, poll results, and of course the poll was what this topic is, and the topic was if you could only listen to one Elvis decade, which one would it be? 1950s, 1960s, or 1970s? And I really made it easy on you this week, didn't I? When I started typing the poll question, and I put, this is an easy one for you, it was actually said sarcastically because I knew it was a difficult one. And don't forget, you can call me free on Facebook Messenger. You can actually, if anybody met Ronnie or knew Ronnie or anything like that, ring in and tell us about it after the topic. And any other topic you want to speak about as well. And also, if you want to speak about the topic that is coming up here now, which is 50s, 60s, or 70s. Now, obviously, there's too many Elvis songs to mention. They're all great. We know they're all great. But I just like to sort of mention a few highlights as we go through the decades. So if we were to start with the 50s, and you know, the Sun recordings, without doubt, the Sun recordings are up there as, you know, the mega highlights of his career. He started on such a high, and he just kept going and going and going and going. You know, recordings like Mystery Train, Trying to Get to You, Good Rockin' Tonight, they're outstanding. It was just like lighting the blue touch paper, and he was away. As soon as he did that, That's All Right Mama, it was just whew, superstardom. Jailhouse Rock, of course, King Creole, the songs from Jailhouse Rock and the songs from King Creole. The early 60s, Elvis is back. The Studio B early 60s, before he just, Colonel Parker said, right, that's it. We're just going to concentrate on soundtracks, from about 1964 onwards, I think, wasn't it? And he didn't really do any Studio B recordings or non-soundtrack recordings until the How Great Thou Art sessions in 1966. I mean, just a glance down at some of the recording sessions, March 12th and 13th, 1961 in Studio B, 12th and 13th of March, Sunday and Monday. I'm coming home gently in your arms. Give me the right. I feel so bad. It's a sin. I want you with me. There's always me. Starting today. Sentimental me. Judy. And put the blame on me. That was all in one evening session. He recorded those. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 records, 12 tracks, if you like. And they're all just fantabulously, just great. Fandabby-dozy. Fantastic. I know some people like me to say fantastic. Well, they're fantastic. Later on in the year, October the 15th and 16th, again a Sunday and Monday in Nashville, Studio B, for the millionth and the last time. Brilliant record. Good Luck Charm, Anything That's Part of You, I Met Her Today, and Night Rider. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just absolutely top class recordings. The Memphis sessions at the end of the 60s, all the familiar ones, but plus there's some hidden gems as well. Inherit the Wind. Not many people mention Inherit the Wind, and yet it's a fantastic vocal performance. His vocals in January and February of 1969, not just the fact that it wasn't the same Studio B or radio recorders or all that, but he was home in Memphis and he had the Memphis Sound Boys backing him up. But his voice as well, it all fell together so well in January and February 1969. He was on the crest of a wave after the 1968 NBC TV special. So Inherit the Wind, You'll Think of Me, Kentucky Rain, Power of My Love, and the one I always go on about as well, Long Black Limousine. What a fantastic, I'm using that word a lot tonight. What a superb, I'll use superb this time. What a superb vocal performance. And actually Elvis had a cold during some of that January 1969 recording sessions. You can hear the vocals on Long Black Limousine and what was it? Not Wearing That Love Done Look. His voice cracks a lot, a lot on that on the outtakes because he is struggling with a cold, and yeah, he still turns in those top quality performances. 1970s, of course, we got the Bridge, as he just called it, Bridge. Studio and live. It's hard to separate his live versions of Bridge over the studio one from 1970. There's a superb Bridge version in Elvis on Tour. He just hits that note near the end and it's just unbelievable. 20 Days and 20 Nights, again, I know that's not some people's favorite, but I think it's a great. His voice just soars on that. It really does. Heart of Rome, Rags to Riches, the 1971 Christmas recordings. There's some really, really nice ones in there. I know people are saying, they're only Christmas songs, but just his voice. We've all said, haven't we? Elvis could sing the Telephone Directory, and it'd still sound good. Merry Christmas Baby, of course, is dropped in there. That I have to give that an honourable mention. That 8.5 minute jam. I'm Leaving. Elvis always joked when he said that. He says, I'm not really leaving. That's the name of the song. 1973, The Stax, My Boy, Love in Arms. There was a few weak ones in the 1973 Stax studio sessions, but My Boy and Love in Arms are definitely not the weak ones, that's for sure. And the 75 Today sessions, one of my favorite albums today, without a doubt. I Can Help, even though Elvis did say Billy Swan my ass at one point before. Mark, if you're just giving me a ring, yeah, actually we will. I'll speak to Mark and then we can go on about the Today sessions. Hi, Mark.
Hi, Steve. How you doing?
I'm doing really, really well. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you. Fine, thank you.
You actually contacted me earlier on and said how sad it was about Ronnie.
Yeah, it is. Sad day, sad day. The end of the TCB band, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
That's what I thought about today. Yeah.
Well, there's a couple of them left, isn't there? Of course, there's James
Yeah.
Burton, there's Glenn D.
Yeah.
Harden, but I did mean to mention in my when I was talking about Ronnie was he was on my list of one of my people I wanted to contact to get on the show. Obviously, sadly
All
now
right.
that
Yeah.
opportunity's gone, but I would have just loved to have spoken to Ronnie.
Yeah. Well, I did meet Ronnie on two occasions. The first time was way back in 1998.
Right.
And then I met him 2000 in London at the O2. I had the privilege to go backstage to meet the TCB band and get all the autographs.
All right.
Yeah, and obviously Priscilla was there as well. And yeah, but it was great. And just to meet James and Ronnie and Jerry and Glenn. Yeah, fantastic. A really nice guy. And
I was about to say, what sort of a guy was he? Was he a soft-spoken guy? And did he talk about it? Did he talk about Elvis?
Oh, he did. Yeah, he was a really soft-spoken guy. He 100% loved Elvis. He said what an entertainer he was.
Yeah.
What a joker he was. What a practical joker he was. At times you didn't know what he was going to do on stage, but like you said, he went with Elvis's moves, on stage and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And drum behind him, But yeah. But he was. He just said, "Yeah, what a great guy he was." And I just actually saw a post on Facebook from Neil Diamond.
Oh.
Yeah, he just put a post on just saying the sadness to hear of his death today, and that he had 40 years of playing with Neil Diamond.
Yeah.
And he said he'll be sadly missed, and he hopes now he's joining Elvis in heaven. He can get the band back together.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, I have this vision now of Elvis saying, "Hey, Ronnie, where you been? Come on, man. Let's do something, and having a bit of a jam session."
Let's do a little bit of pork salad, Danny, or something.
Yeah. That's great. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Mark.
Yeah. Okay. Cheers, Steve.
All right. All the best. Bye-bye.
And yeah, mate. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah. That's the first thing that went through my mind when I heard the sad news was that Elvis was just waiting there for him. Where was I? Oh yeah, I was going for the 1960s, and then we were moving on to the 1970s. That's a lovely shot of Elvis in January, February 1970, and I was saying that even though Elvis said "Billy Swan, my ass," I'm sure he enjoyed doing the I think it was only one take he did of "I Can Help," believe it or not. He just fired it off in one take, which is not unusual for Elvis. And "I Love You So," of course. If you ever get the chance to listen to the outtakes, listen to take one as well of "And I Love You So," because it's awesome. And of course, the sublime "Bringing It Back" as well, which is probably my favorite song from the Today album, "Bringing It Back." Then we have the Jungle Room sessions. We all know some of the difficulties that Elvis was. Jill is saying, "Oh my God," and a lot of exclamation marks, and I would imagine that's because of this picture here. I'm showing on the screen at the moment. And he looked absolutely fabulous in 1969, 1970 anyway, so yeah, I thought I'd pick that one. I like the blue shirt. Yeah, his blue eyes, yummy. Yeah, the blue jumpsuit, fantastic. The Jungle Room sessions, as I say, we all know sort of he was having a hard time health-wise and so forth in 76. Couldn't have been easy for him. That's maybe one of the reasons why he chose to record at home, is so she didn't have to travel. There was nowhere really in Memphis left to record, so we've got the brilliant Danny Boy, and for me, the outstanding track of both those sessions in February and October 1976 was "It's Easy for You." I know some people say "Hurt" and things like that, but it must have struck such a chord with Elvis. "It's Easy for You" in 1976. So that's why it's my outstanding track. If anybody would like to ring in and tell me what their favourite decade is, 1950s, 60s or 70s, you can ring me on Facebook Messenger. And I'm going to just get rid of that for a second. You can ring me on Facebook Messenger, and we can, or if you want to talk about Ronnie Tutt like Mark did, you can do that as well. No problem whatsoever. There was a poll that I obviously asked to... here's a call coming in. Hi, Maxine.
Hello, how are you?
How are you?
I'm really good, thank you. And yourself?
What about Ronnie, though?
I know, such a shame.
Bless him.
Bless him. I've said on there that I think him, Elvis, and a lot of his friends are up there making thunder
Yeah.
this evening.
Yeah, without a doubt. Can you imagine? And Scotty and Bill, they obviously never got a chance to play with Ronnie because the timing was completely different. So now it'll be great thinking of those three together.
Oh, the laughs they'd have.
Yeah, exactly. So are you going to tell me about the 50s, 60s and 70s?
Yeah, I liked the 50s, obviously, because that was when he was young. But I think what did it for me was the 60s and the 70s. He just looked amazing.
Yeah.
Especially in 68, you know.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, without a doubt.
Oh,
and
yeah.
His voice was... There was something in his voice in the 68 special and the Memphis Sound Sessions, wasn't it? It had a roughness, it had an edge that it hadn't had through all the movies. Unfortunately, it was very bland material for some of the movies. But if you compare his voice to the movie he did just before the 68 special and then the movies he did just after, it's almost like a different singer, nearly.
It is, bless him. I think he matured quite a bit, and I think that's what made his voice so unique. Going from the 50s, it was unique then, but going into the later 60s, into the 70s, it just gave it that extra boost, I think.
Yeah, that's for sure. Okay, thanks, Maxine. You're doing a great job, by the way, moderating. Thanks very much.
That's all right. Thanks, Steve.
Talk to you again. Bye.
All right, bye.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I forgot to say, actually, Maxine and Dave are kindly moderating for me tonight and doing a great job. So, the poll. I put, here's an easy question for you. If you could only listen to Elvis songs from one decade, which would you choose? Please give your reasons for your choice in the comment section below. I'll be reading those out in a second. And I also said all of them isn't an option, I'm afraid, even though some people did say, I can't answer all of them. So there you are. And the poll. Have I got it here? I think I have somewhere. Yes, here it is. Overwhelmingly, and a little bit unbelievable as well to think that, the 50s, he started in the 50s. It's when he exploded onto the scene. Only got 15% and then 25% for the 60s. And as you can see, overwhelmingly 60% the 70s. Of course, I suppose there was more material in the 70s than the 50s because he only had from 54 to 58. He only had 4 years of the 50s, really, didn't he? Whereas he had sort of a good 6-7 years of the 70s. So there you are. And what have I got here? Linda Harrington Parker says, definitely the 70s. He put the passion and feeling like no other, no one else. Well, I'm agreeing with J.D. Sumner. He had learned how to sing when the 70s came. That was another comment. Catgirl Blue. Hi, Catgirl Blue. The 70s. His voice was better, the technology was better, and the songs had more meaning, and he sang with more passion. Even though Elvis's back was brilliant. Unfortunately, it was followed by lots of soundtracks, and I don't want to listen to those. Okay. Elvis Lass. Hi, Michelle. This was so hard. Sorry. You see, it's my intention to not make it as too easy. So it sort of develops into maybe a little bit of a debate, or it makes you think and it makes us discuss these things. So I always try and maybe make it just that little bit challenging. She says, yeah, this was so hard. I went with the 60s because then I get the movies, but by gosh, the 70s was so hard to put aside. Duncan Campbell. Hi, Duncan. Here's Deb Smith. Hang on a second before we read Duncan's message out. Hi, Debbie.
Hey, Steve. How are you?
I'm doing very well. How's things?
Oh, just hanging in there. Same old, same old.
That's all we can do.
That's right.
So what would you like to say?
I was a fan of Elvis's in the 70s more because that's when I was old enough to appreciate his art. I was a teenager, and like I said, I was 21 when he died. So,
yeah.
And I was able to see him in 76. So I was a fan of his 70s music a lot more because that was more of what was around in my age group. And I liked his voice being deeper in the ballads because he was competing against Frank Sinatra and all the other basic ballad singers of that time, and his voice was deeper and he had a broader range, so he was able to get more feeling, like My Boy and Hurt, stuff like that.
Yeah.
He was able to get more feeling in his songs.
Yeah. I mean, there was definitely songs he sang in the 70s which he would have been able to have even attempted probably in the 50s. I mean, he wouldn't have been able to have done, say, Rags to Riches or Hurt, songs like that. The 1950s Elvis couldn't have done it. But then again, you could argue the other way and say that in 1970, Elvis probably couldn't really do the vocal performance he did on something like Jailhouse Rock. He sang Jailhouse Rock completely different in concert, didn't he?
That's true. He did. He sang that and Teddy Bear, and a lot of songs he sped up, like Hound Dog, because he didn't really want to. I think he was tired of singing them. Actually, that was my opinion. But
yeah, well,
he seemed that way because he sped up the.
Yeah, he kind of just he wanted to get them out the way. I think he knew that people wanted to hear them, but he just sang them really quick to get them out the way, I think.
Right, and I met Ronnie Tutt a couple of times.
Right.
I was a friend of Charlie Hodges.
Yes.
And after Elvis died, and before Charlie died, in the 2000s, he had a stage show in Sevierville in Pigeon Forge.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a tribute to Elvis Presley, but he would talk about, working with Elvis, and he would talk about stuff. So I went up there and seen him a few times, and a couple of times Ronnie Tutt had come, and him and his wife were in the audience, just watching the show and stuff. So I got to meet him a couple times. But he was a really nice, soft-spoken person. Never had a bad thing to say about anybody.
Yeah. He struck me as somebody like that, and that's probably one of the reasons why him and Elvis got on so well, not just musically but personally as well, because they were both just great guys.
And he pretty much kept to himself and kept his opinion to himself, and didn't really, say too much about what Elvis was doing or wasn't doing or who he was doing it with or whatever. He just kind of minded his own business and acted like he had blinders on and kept his mouth shut pretty much.
Yeah, and a caller earlier said that he undoubtedly loved Elvis. He just loved the guy.
That's true. I know that I had heard the story a couple of times, but to hear him tell it, it was funny. One of the times he showed up at one of the Elvis concerts, he had all of his drums in a taxi cab, and he went to the back door of wherever it was they were going so he could set up his drums and get his set ready, because he always made sure he carried his drums with him. He didn't trust them to be going anywhere else. He made sure he took them with him. And the guy that was working security at the back door of whatever venue they were at wouldn't let him in. He didn't believe that Ronnie Tutt was actually the drummer for Elvis. So they had somebody from the inside had to come in and say that Ronnie Tutt was supposed to be there and let him in and get his drums out of the back of the taxi cab.
It's a great story. Great story. All right, Deb, thanks for calling in. It's always a pleasure to speak to you.
All right, thank you.
Take care.
Bye, Steve.
Bye. Yeah, what a lot of people are saying is that Elvis's voice matured in the 70s, matured through the 60s, and and as I said to Debbie earlier on, there was probably songs that he couldn't sing in the 50s that he just flew through in the 70s and just nailed them. I come to Duncan's comment. I voted for the 70s, Steve, probably as much for anything else as that was the part of Elvis's career that I grew up in. That said, I do also feel that there was such a resonance and power to his voice in the 70s that's just stunning. EP Fanatic, I know most people will go for the 70s, and of course I love all of Elvis's music, but his voice in the 60s was so pure and like velvet. You got that right, that's for sure. Many great ballads came from this era, and to me, he was by far the best ballad singer of all time. Yeah. Daniel says, by late 60s, early 70s, I think Elvis was recording a higher quality of songs, plus his vocal had stretched to operatic ability, although we saw some of this in this early 60s as well. Yeah, There's Always Me, something like that, yeah. Doug Dickerson, hi Doug. Another tough one, yeah, but 70s it is because Elvis was on full go into music and not splitting between movies and music. Yeah, that's a good point. Well, there's Jeanette. How are you?
Hi, Steve. I'm doing well. How's your evening?
It's going really, really well, but sad news about Ronnie, obviously.
It is. It is really sad. It's just another part of the Elvis legacy that is just left behind now, and we have this music. Yeah. It is sad. It is sad.
Mm. Have you rung up about the decades?
I did. I rang up and at first I protested. I didn't want to vote. I thought that I thought that was very naughty of you. But I've come to expect it now of you, Steve. So I did vote for the 60s.
Oh, right. And why?
I did. I think it just, for me, it depends on my mood. Sometimes I want to put in the 50s. Sometimes I want to listen to the 70s. But I find myself gravitating more towards the 60s sound. And I think just because the 50s, really good, very rocky, rock and roll, hardcore sound. And then in the 60s, I think the voice just got to that point where I go, wow. Like, I don't know whose comment that you read, but that it was like smooth or just, there's something about the tone in the 60s that is just beautiful.
Yeah.
The 70s I enjoy, but I have a hard time separating, and it's going to sound weird, but when I hear his 70s music, it makes me a little more sad because I know he wasn't in the best of health, and I know personal life had a lot of turmoil in it.
Yeah.
And I think to myself, oh man, this is towards the end, and it kind of makes me sad. So yes, his voice was completely mature. That Aloha special, he looked and sounded phenomenal. I'm not going to lie there, but for me, I have a hard time in my mind separating the sadness that I feel when I hear some of his songs.
Yeah.
I feel more sadness when I think of the 70s and Elvis than I do joy, even though all his music brings me joy.
Yeah.
Don't attack me.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. I agree. It's very subjective. I mean, it does depend on what mood you're in. You might want to listen to King of the Whole Wide World, I Got Lucky, and then you might want to listen to the Jungle Room sessions, It's Easy for You and Hurt and all that one day.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
And when I think of the 60s, two of my favorite songs are Surrender and I forgot what the other one was, but when I listen to Surrender and It's Now or Never, like, oh man, if I could only pick maybe two of the songs to listen to on repeat for the rest of my life, I would probably pick those two. And yes, the campy movies came along, but hey, I enjoyed those campy music, the campy music and all the production and stuff. So yeah, each decade, fabulous.
Yes.
But I gravitate to the 60s, and that's my opinion.
Can I just say something? You reminded me of something. You mentioned It's Now or Never. And
Yeah.
whenever I have that song on, I always go back and play that last little bit again. And you know when he hits the note on the word love right at the very, very end.
Yes.
Man, oh man, the hairs on the back of my neck just stick up. And I just have to keep just rewinding that little bit again. And here, I listen to that note about 7 or 8 times every time I listen to It's Now or Never. So I listen to the whole song once, but that ending about 6 or 7 times, because it's just phenomenal, that note he hits on the word love right at the very, very end.
Steve, you and I are on the same page there, because
Yeah.
I'm the kind of person, I will listen to a song. If I hear something that catches my ear, I go, oh my gosh, I will go back and repeat and listen over and over again. Like, I don't want to take up too much time here, but just yesterday and the night before, I was listening to Elvis Is Back, and I'm listening to, what is it? Oh, What a Night, or Such a Night.
Such a Night, yeah.
And I'm listening to, ladies, listen to me. If you're hearing him, the way he drawls certain words and holds out certain notes, like you have to listen carefully to Elvis, whether it's 50s, 60s, or 70s.
Yeah.
Listen, you're going to miss something that he does with his voice that it just catches my ear. And when it comes to the 60s, there's something about it. A lot of his music, he does some things that just make me go, whoa.
Yeah.
And I have to rewind and go back and listen. But he's the kind of artist that can just sing everything and anything. And it's just pleasing to the ear. And I don't understand why the average person wouldn't sit there and listen and go, terrible singer. Or it just boggles my mind.
Yeah.
But
The end of that song is extremely sexual as well, isn't it? Where he goes, but before that dawn, and he goes, ooh, like that.
Yes,
that is extremely sexual. You know what I mean?
I know, and I'm ashamed, somewhat to say, I did listen to those parts about 3 or 4 times. And I think I posted on Twitter, hey, ladies, take a listen to that.
Yeah,
So I'm just keeping it real with you.
Yeah. All right, Jeanette, lovely to speak to you. It's great. I love it every time you ring in. I really do.
You're so nice, Steve.
Thanks,
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Fabulous show as always.
Take care of yourself.
Everybody.
Bye-bye. Bye.
You too. Bye now.
The lovely Jeanette. Yes. Right. Where was I? I think I read out Doug Dickinson's, and I'm going to go into Cherry. His voice was always distinctive and amazing, but in my opinion, the 70s, his voice became otherworldly. There you go. Lewis Hope, I love the 3 decades, but I chose the 60s because the songs had more happiness and youth on his voice and performances. 70s are great, but the songs were more sad and painful. Yeah, I mean, it was almost like a switch, wasn't it? In the 60s and 50s, you had sort of more up-tempo, upbeat songs and maybe a few sad ones. Then in the 70s, you had a lot of sad ones and a few upbeat ones. So, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they were all melancholy or they were all sad, but you could just see that little shift towards the more melancholy in the 70s. Michael Gillen. Hi, Michael. Love the 70s. Next Step is Love. I've Lost You. Bridge Over Troubled Water. So many greats. The 60s has too many movies songs that I don't care for. The 50s will be my second choice. Great question. Yeah, I know, but some people said this is it's too hard, Steve. I don't know what I'm going to do for next week. I'll finish with Wet Blanket, and it says 50s Elvis for me today, 60s probably tomorrow, and 70s next week. We can all share Wet Blanket's view there because it nearly changes every day, doesn't it? And have I got a piece of paper here? I have, yeah. Right, we are going to do the Fan of the Month quiz if you want to stand by for the questions, and I'll ask the mods to help me out by just confirming which name comes out first. October the 17th, yes, 3 of 5, and it's general knowledge. So again, I haven't really picked one specific it's not like films or finish these lyrics or something like that. Sun Records. So if everybody is ready, all ears are great. Maxine, yes. Yeah. I'm going to give you question 1, and whoever I see the first correct answer goes in the draw for the monthly prize. Maxine says, yep, go easy, Steve. Give me a chance. Okay, Danielle, I'll try. Name the 1965 movie soundtrack recording that doesn't mention the song title. Now, what do you think of that? Carol Bell says Marie's the name. Jacqueline, yes, I think that could be the reason they decided to do that. Oh, I'm kind of catching up with the comments here. Name the 1965 movie soundtrack recording that doesn't mention the song title. C says, I love Elvis's blues songs. Yes, Reconsider Baby, things like that. Yeah, fabulous. I'm the most indecisive person on these polls. Always have me go, ah. Yeah, I know. I'm trying not to make them too easy. Tickle me. Paradise Hawaiian Style. Danny B-side. Well done, Danny B-side. Okay. There's Tickle Me, Tickle Me. What is the name of Billy and Joe's channel? I think it's Memphis Mafia Kid, I think. Kissing Cousins, Riding the Rainbow, Double Trouble. Well, Double Trouble mentions Double Trouble. I got Double Trouble. I got Double Trouble. So Danny B got in there. On July the 18th, 1953, Elvis recorded 2 songs at Sun. That's When Your Heartaches Begin. What was the other one? What was the other one? Jeanette says, Danny B is so good at this. Chris says pass. Well, the answer was Paradise Hawaiian Style. I've seen it mentioned on a bootleg and they've called it Hawaii USA because that's what he actually sings, doesn't he? Okay, who is going to be first? Hi, Ruth. I see Ruth's name. I get a chance to see some of the names now. Banjo Paul. Well done, Banjo Paul. Yeah, Danny B-side was first. Yeah, Banjo Paul, I believe, was first for My Happiness. I'll just wait for either Dave or Maxine to confirm that. A lot of people coming in there now with My Happiness. Edwidge, Lou Dane, Jeanette, Lee Ash. Yeah, a lot of people. JC22. I'm just seeing the names now, actually. I never really get a chance to see some of the names when I'm doing the show. Banjo Paul was first. Brilliant. So that means I can move on to question 3. And question 3, let me just read it to make sure I've got it right. Oh, yeah. Kentucky Rain was released in the US on the 29th of January 1970. And what was the B-side? Now, is Danny B-side going to get this B-side question? That's what I need to know. I see the answer before the question is finished. That's strange. Yeah. Don't forget, I always say this every week. You've got to have live chat at the top of the chat box, not top chat. And there's a little way for just clicking on it and changing it. I missed that last question. Wonder Review, Don't Cry Daddy. My Little Friend, Danny B-side. Just confirm there, Maxine, Dave, that Danny B-side got that correct first. I wouldn't. It would have surprised me if Danny B-side didn't get that right because it was a B-side. Okay, I want to stress that Kentucky Rain released in the US 29th of January 1970. What was the B-side? If the B-side was something different in another country, fair enough, but that's what I wanted. And it's My Little Friend. Thanks, Maxine. Danny B-side got it first. Question 4. What is Elvis's character's name in the movie Spin Out? Tina Foley, Danny on Fire. Arkansas Dave says Danny B. Yeah, that's great. Should have done this all along. I should have got moderators to double check for me, because I went through a very bad stage there where I was nearly getting it wrong every time. Maxine says, well done, Danny. Danny boy. Yeah, that's that. David, no more B-side questions. Correct. Roseanne Dalby says Mike McCoy, which is quite correct. That is the correct answer. I will just wait for confirmation, but I'm almost certain Roseanne got it right. Roseanne Dalby. Just wait for confirmation. And why says Ted? Can you imagine Elvis being called Ted? Bossa Nova Baby gets it right. Lou Dane. Chris says, I heard Steve say about someone said the answers come up first. If you have to buffer, it makes you behind. Yeah, maybe. Maxine says Roseanne Dalby. Yeah. Yeah, the best thing to do is just to refresh the stream. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share and click on the bell and all that malarkey. I forgot to say that at the start. And up above my head, you can get me on Twitter, you can get me on Facebook, you can get me on Instagram. Don't forget your super chats as well. If you do want to bring any particular comment to my attention, you can click on the $sign and you can donate to the channel. And you can also donate to the channel by buying me a coffee with the link below. Buy me a coffee. Don't forget, coming up later, This Day in Elvis History, Elvis Song of the Week, and also that Elvis Picture of the Week as well. Right, question 5. I just want to make sure. Oh, this is a good one. This is a good one. This is going to sort out the men from the boys and the girls from the ladies. There were 3 bonus tracks on the original LP spin out. I didn't write that, but I know it is. I'll Remember You, Tomorrow Is a Long Time, and what was the 3rd bonus track on the spin out album? 3 bonus tracks. I'll Remember You, Tomorrow Is a Long Time, and what was the 3rd one? Okay. Please be on the live chat during the quiz. Cold showers to be prepared, ladies. Yeah, well, it is a cold shower, but it's not a topless one. I've kind of reined that in a little bit. David Ewing. I got there, Down in the Alley. Danny B says mine. No, Danny. Danny got it wrong. Okay, there you go. That's a weird one, isn't it? So I'm going to put Danny Ewing, and the mods can say yes or no. Jeanette, Down in the Alley. Danny B said Down in the Alley. Well, Danny got it right, actually, at the second time. He got mine the first time. David says, woohoo. Yeah. Yes, indeed. Woohoo. Thanks, Maxine. David Ewing. Jeanette says, well done, David. Do you know, I'm not familiar with the name of Elvis's character in Easy Come, Easy Go. And Brian has said that he thought it was maybe Ted in Easy Come, Easy Go. I don't know. You could be right. You could be right. It just sounded so funny, Ted. And I'm going to go for the 6th and final question. Who wrote the song Don't Cry Daddy? Simple as that. Who wrote the song Don't Cry Daddy? And a little hint, sadly, we lost him recently. Passed away. Right. Thanks, David. Pronounce Ewing like the Dallas family. Thanks. Ewing. Yeah, sorry about that. I know from now on. So David Ewing got that question right down in the alley. Okay, so who we got there? We got Anula, I believe. I will just ask the mods to confirm that, but Anula. Yeah, Mac Davis. Wow, look at all those Mac Davises. Yeah. A fine song as well. Heck of a song. Heck of a song. Mac Davis. Okay. Anula A was first, Steve. Thanks, Dave. And thanks, Maxine. Okay. I'm not too sure. I just wanted to say there might be a change to scheduling next weekend. I might have to do the live on Saturday because myself and my family are going away for the weekend. Next weekend actually is a holiday weekend in Ireland, so I might just bring it forward 24 hours and do it at 7:30 or whatever the time is in your on Saturday, so it might be 24 hours earlier, but I'll confirm that on Wednesday. Let's do the Elvis history, and we've also got some pictures as well. And Sunday the 17th, which is today, yeah, so October the 17th, 1954, 2 weeks after his appearance in Nashville's Grand Ole Opry, Elvis performs on the country music radio program Louisiana Hayride, broadcast live on KWKH in Shreveport, Louisiana. After an enthusiastic reception from the audience, Elvis is booked to appear every week for a year at $18. Wow, $18 a show. Bill Black and Scotty Moore are paid $12 each. And there he is, either just before or just after the show. And there he is during the show. Same Dickie Bow, same suit, same shirt. He's so young there, isn't he? So young. Right, and then we've got 1955. Elvis, Scotty and Bill appeared after a big free hillbilly amateur show at the Memorial Stadium, El Dorado, Arkansas. And I've got a poster actually for that. Big free hillbilly amateur show tonight, October 17th at 8 p.m. Memorial Stadium, starring Elvis Presley, Scotty and Bill. And it says a host of local talent will be competing. First prize, $75 bond, $50 bond, and $25 bond. The audience will select the winners by their applause. So there you go. It's not a great picture, unfortunately. It's a scan by the looks of it. Stop by your favorite filling station and ask for your lucky folder. There you go. Which is your free ticket through the gate. There you go. Different times. Okay. 1960, the previous day, in other words, the 16th, Elvis broke his finger playing touch football at Graceland. And we have a few photographs there. He's actually, the actual doctor there is, or the nurse, male nurse, is taking blood, believe it or not. I think that is Anita there, just to Elvis's right. And just over his shoulder. It's hard to see, isn't it? Is that, thanks Mo Elvis 98 for the super chat. Elvis 68 was the best, far ahead of his time. Thanks very much. Again, thanks very much for the donation. I'm just wondering whether that's Joe Esposito there, extreme right of the picture. That's almost certainly Anita to Elvis's right. And if I'm not mistaken, just to the right of Elvis's ear, if you like, behind the blonde lady, could be Sonny West. So, and we got more pictures coming up. That's almost like Elvis is saying, it's not this finger, it's the other finger. What else have we got? Let's see if we can play this again. Yeah, this one looks like the team that he was playing with. And immediately to Elvis's right, or our left, is Alan Fortas. And that looks like Junior Smith, extreme right. So I'd almost definitely say that they were the boys that were with him at the time playing touch football. If you remember rightly, when I was speaking about the sessions for His Hand in Mine, you can see that same dressing or similar dressing on his hand at the photographs taken outside Studio B that evening. I've got another photograph as well, which is very interesting. 1963. This date was the date of Elvis's second-degree black belt. I'm going to bring that up for you because there is the certificate. He got a certificate with his name on it, which he carried at the time of his death. Wow. This is to certify that Mr. M-I-S-T-E-R, Elvis Presley has completed a course of instruction in the ancient art of karate. He is awarded the second-degree black belt. And there you go. In black and white, 17th of October, 1963. 58 years ago. 1964, he is doing Tickle Me. 1967, Elvis in Arizona for Stay Away Joe. Here is a interesting picture from 1971. Now, that's the kind of the look I get sometimes when I approach a car and the person's in the car and they haven't opened the door. They've locked all the doors and I can't get in. And that's exactly what it looks like is happening there. It's almost like Elvis is saying, could you please open the door, please? I'm trying to get in. 1972, I believe, yeah. From October the 8th to the end of the month, Elvis watched almost every night movies at the Memphian or the Crosstown. 1973, Elvis in Memphis Baptist Memorial Hospital. Linda Thompson stayed in the room with him. And then I've got some fantastic photographs from 1976. Elvis performed at the Metropolitan Sports Center, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Let's get those up. Beautiful. I think there's a closer one in a minute. It's just at the Metropolitan Sports Center, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Maybe they're all far away. Ah, no, there's another. That's a closer up. Nice shot of him, and another one. I'm going to do Song of the Week, and then I'm going to do the. I'm going to make you wait for the picture of the week, photo of the week. Song of the Week was. The song was written by Bill Taylor and Stan Kessler, members of a Sun Records band called Snurley Ranch Boys. The released version was recorded by Elvis on Saturday, March the 5th, 1955, and as I said, Sun Records. The recording features Elvis on vocals, Scotty Moore on guitar, and Bill Black on bass. Both are credited on the record label as Scotty and Bill. The drummer's name was Jimmy Lott, and he was brought in for this recording by Sam. However, Jimmy only features on the up-tempo version that was released. The boys also did a slow version, which is sometimes referred to as My Baby's Gone. So if you haven't guessed by now, my song of the week is You're Right, I'm Left, She's Gone. Released as a single in April 1955 with Baby Let's Play House on the opposite side, the song made it into the top 10 of the US Billboard Country and Western bestsellers in stores chart. But I'm going to actually feature the slow version of I'm Left, You're Right, She's Gone. The link is below, and it's take number 7, which is fantastic. I always and it is it's a great version. So I'm Left, You're Right, She's Gone, take 7 of the slow version. Now let's do pick of the week, and I have got 1970, Caesar's Palace, and it was suggested by our very own, and I hope she's still watching, Angel Baby. And there it is. No topless tonight. He is fully clothed, but he looks absolutely fantastic. And he was on his way into Caesar's Palace in 1970. Okay, so as I say, there might actually be a change to the schedule next week. Next Sunday, it might be Saturday because, as I say, I'm going away for a long weekend with my family. It's holiday week over here, but I'll confirm that on Wednesday. So I think I've done everything. As I say, it was unfortunate that we actually started on a very sad note, the passing of Ronnie Tutt, Elvis's drummer from 1969 to 1977. Yeah. And I think the best thing to do is if I leave you with that, because we will miss Ronnie. I'm sure people were, met him when they went to Elvis in concert and things like that. The thing that they used to do with the TCB band, and the callers, the people that called in that knew or met him, had the chance to meet him, said he was a lovely, quietly spoken fella, and he loved Elvis, and I'm pretty sure that Elvis loved him too. Thanks to all the lovely callers tonight, and to everybody that participated with the quiz. And I'll see you on Wednesday for a lot more Elvis, a new topic, another song, another picture of the week. I'll do another poll, and I'll try and make it easier for you this week. So until Wednesday, please look after yourselves and take care. And thanks again for joining me. And I hope you enjoyed the show as much as I enjoyed doing it. Bye, everyone.